Toss, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Feeling radiant.
Looking radiant.
Ooh, thank you.
Yeah,
You hold on. You're looking luminous.
that's right. I'm luminous and you're radiant.
I'm glad I'm radiant because I don't know if I'd be able to take the luminosity if I wasn't a match. Welcome everybody of a Sun live stream. High frequency conversations, stimulating entertainment for your consciousness. So we are here. We are diving into the tenets. We're continuing. And the tenets, again, are ways of life, ways of living, adhering to energy hygiene, and to sustain a vibratory field, but really to inform the field of who and what we are.
Absolutely. So these are the things by which we live. These tenets are the of the sun. Uh, this is our direction. This is our perimeter.
Yeah. But, excuse me, I'm distracted. First off, let's give a shout out and some appreciation to Diane. Everybody give, I almost feel like queuing up the little sound effect for the claps
Yes.
and a round of applause because this
These are
arrangement,
beautiful.
the camera does not do this justice. If you could see what we see, geez Louise,
It's
it's
so
amazing.
beautiful.
So, anywho, that's enough for the distraction, squirrely moment. But again, back to the tenets, where we have released in the last several live streams 4 of the tenets thus far. So we've discussed upholding energy hygiene as a lifestyle, being a steward of truth, honoring sovereignty, yours and others, operating with integrity, and today we're going to discuss being the clearing, and walking as the teaching, embodiment essentially.
Yes.
And the add-on with this tenet is embodying what you teach and be a living field of coherence. And that right there, it's so timely that we're going over this particular tenet in the coherence part because we're about to shift into light body, and our theme for phase 3 is coherence.
Absolutely.
Whole field, whole body. Now, this is also an update for you all. For anybody who's looking to join us in the light body movement, where every first, second, third, and fourth Sunday, we're getting together as a group online. And each month, we do an intensive capsule of diving into the intricacies of the energy centers, the ins and outs, the practical understandings, the basic rational intellectual knowledge of the characteristics of the chakras, but really activating an embodiment. And so this activation, the idea of you can pull in your light. You don't necessarily need crystals or other things or even sound bowls and frequencies from YouTube. You have the capacity to pull light into your field by way of some of the frequencies that we introduce you to that will clear the distortion in the energy center. It will expand the light within the energy center and then stabilize it. Because sometimes people have an issue with holding on to their light. They get some light and then it's like they make it halfway through the day. Where's the rest of my light at? I thought I could have sworn I had more light than this. So this idea of coherence that we're moving into, we're starting back with the beginning of the root chakra this upcoming Sunday. And the coherence is where we have done 2 phases of activation, becoming familiar through fine-tuning our perception and understanding of each center. Now, it's time to move into operating as a whole being. It's an entire system. It's not just a slither, although we're still each month going through the energy centers, but striving to be coherent, to move as one whole being, and see what that looks like. So again, the timing of when we start that and then talking about be the clearing or embodiment and coherence, I think it's timely. What do you think about that?
I think the whole concept could be best understood through the idea we start with the root chakra, which is the ancestry, which is the life and death, which it is the base or the center or the foundation of who we are, so that if we start there correctly, we can inform the rest of the column and go through the lower chakras into the higher chakras so that we can best hold our coherency It is something to build upon. The idea of building a strength of coherence that you want to hold and build upon as each chakra identifies other aspects of your beingness. But starting in the base chakra with the ancestors is the place to begin, because we are informed by that which has come before us, but not only in that way, but they live inside of us. The living DNA of what your mother did and what her mother did and what her father did and what her father did lives inside of you and is informing things that consciously and unconsciously, mostly unconsciously, that are taking place with your health, with your appetites, with how you look, how you feel, what you think you are capable of, and what you refuse to believe you are capable of. So this is a great place to start, to begin coherency at the beginning.
Almost in the beginning. Definitely looking forward to it. Ancestry has been kicking up a lot lately. Interestingly enough, although we were in the crown chakra for the month of June, the attention to ancestry was brought forth for both the crown and the root. You know, cosmic ancestry, that extension of who we are, physical ancestry and how it influences and how it has been creating drag in our momentum, and the necessity to consistently put it down. You know, so this is cool because we have had a little momentum. Now we're about to really turn up.
Yeah, we're on our third round. This is the one. It's possible that we will complete this in 7 months at the crown chakra, at the beginning of the precipice of what great things will happen for humanity. We will be ready.
Well, certainly.
Yes.
Certainly. So some announcements for you all, and again, welcome. We see some of you all are joining us. We see you in the live and in the chat. So the month of July, we have a variety of upcoming classes. So as I mentioned, light body movement, picking back up the thread with phase 3 this upcoming Sunday. And then we also have the return of Luminous Life Method. You'll be teaching this. And this class will be on the 14th, 21st, and 28th. These are all consecutively held on a Tuesday. And the Luminous Life Method, it is a process or methodology for literally embodying light through its many facets. Now, this is the second phase because there are so many things that you desire to teach and bestow upon us to incorporate in terms of embodying light, engaging with light, to sustain light. But you have anything you wanted to share with them regarding this upcoming class?
I'm very excited to enter into another level of understanding, as we all are familiar that we do create our reality, but what we don't always recognize is that we unconsciously create our reality with what we believe and what we think and what we have been indoctrinated into. And these ideas have produced whatever it is you see in your life. So if you're good with that, good. And if you're not good with that, you may want to give yourself new concepts that become part of your background voice.
Yeah.
The new ideas about who you are, where you come from, what's possible for you, what didn't exist in the ancestry that you can now bring into the DNA. And these things are done through simple daily practices that continue until such time as they have a life of their own, which we then call subconscious. And those subconscious behaviors then produce a new reality. So in essence, we're going to give you many options and choices that are appropriate to create realities that you would like to have based on who you are and what your desires are, but that have eluded you because of the subconscious manifestation taking place from your birth till now, and the evidence is whatever your experience is.
Yes. Whatever's reflected in your field that you're seeing, that's you. And you can change it, unless, like you said, you're cool with it.
Yeah.
You know, which is cool, you know.
Yeah.
It's all good, but if not, if you're like us, we're like, something's got to change. join on. So I'm looking forward to it because there's many things that it's funny because I had awareness of some of these things, but the application, it makes all the difference. And some of these things, like you said, they were simple things like how much sun exposure we get, how much of the touching of the earth are we getting, um, the giving attention to our circadian rhythm, you know, the exposure to the artificial light and how that impacts our nervous system, our hormones, you know, all of which deals with our perception of reality and our general state of being, how we feel inside. You know, so this is something that I think is expansive for everyone. And if you have taken sun calibration, this class is available for you. You know, so you can get in when you fit in, and all you need is to be able to ascertain yes and no information through your biology. Which, just in case, if you're like, what's sun calibration? Sun calibration is a class that is taught by LaOta that teaches you how to get clear yes and no information from your body. Your body was established in truth. Get your mind out of the way, listen to your body. Your body already does this, but part of the issue is that we override the signal. You know, body is like, that'll be enough food wise. And we're like, no. Sometimes we don't even hear it. You know, so there are varying facets of language in which in ways the body communicates to us, but this is clear yes and no program response, and that right there can be translated into asking questions about life itself, your path, your trajectory, and this is what we're all about. You know, you becoming sovereign, where you don't have to keep going to Google or ChatGPT or some other AI platform or some guru or some et cetera, for what do I do? Which it doesn't mean that people should not, but you know, recognizing that I can get the answers, you can get the information,
Yes.
and maybe a second opinion can help, but like everything is inside self. So this is sun calibration. We're actually teaching sun calibration next month. So be on the lookout. Second, third, and fourth Tuesday of the month. That class will be in August for anybody who wants to learn. But that's all. That's the only prerequisite you need. So if you've taken it, you can join LaOta's class, which this is an advanced class. Speaking of classes, we have energetic protection and defense coming up. This is something that I teach, and I'm all about that life. You know, I got a sword, but even though it's a physical sword, I got the spiritual sword. You know where it's at? It's in me. I am the sword. And that's what we're teaching, to become the sword, you know, and the understanding is to learn how to fortify and protect yourself mentally, spiritually, emotionally against different parasitic influences, forms of manipulation, um, and learning how to remove it from your field, send things back so you can, again, stay sovereign. But the deeper truth that allows people to access power in this class is to understand that they're not so much protecting themselves against something out there, you're protecting yourself against you and what you give consent to. So we're going to be going into the details in this class with foundational understandings of who are you, what's the mechanics to make this protection really work, because we often discuss how sometimes people will call for protection, and with their erroneous thinking, maybe they forgot they called for protection and then they step right outside of it, and then they get bopped upside the head with energetic interferences and are wondering what's going on, but it's them who have consented by way of their thoughts, their emotional disposition and behaviors. So we're going to be going over that because it's not just about technique. It's about the clarity of who you are and the mechanics. And, you know, I had a thought, and I think I posted this online. You always talk about decision. Technique without decision will fall flat. You can launch some energy, but if you haven't decided, it'll launch and then it'll disperse and kind of flatten out like mist.
Yes.
But coherence is what is behind, or decision gives coherence to
Yes.
the power, or coherent protection in your field, or coherent spiritual immunity, where your spiritual immune system becomes stronger, where you're not as susceptible. And it don't mean things don't happen. It's just how you deal with it and how you interface energetically, mentally, emotionally completely shifts. So we're gonna have a good time. This is on Thursdays, 16th, 23rd, and the 30th this month. So for anybody who's looking to join in, it's an entry level class. You can slide in, grab your sword, spiritual warrior. This is prep work. You got some thoughts on this?
A lot of thoughts about the idea of the decision fueling the coherence, which really is something you often talk about is what's your why?
Yeah.
Why do you want to come to class? Why do you want to be part of this? Is it because the tenets appeal to you? That's the right reason. If you know the tenets and you love these discussions about the tenets, that's a perfect entryway. That's a yes, come to class. Because I know why I want to come. I want to come because I want to be integritous.
Yes.
I want to not have the false narrative that I've been telling myself. I want to be the truth that I have not yet accomplished. And I would like to work with a community that is moving in that direction. We are not what people have already done. So many who see us from the perspective of whatever their tradition has been. And their tradition is not what this is. We're not taking you to a place where there's guilt. We're not taking you to a place where there's punishment. We're not taking you to a place where there's a jealous authority figure. We're not doing any of that. You know, we're not telling you what to do. We're encouraging you to be what you were designed to be, what your blueprint is. We are guiding that path, and if you are harmonized with that, we embrace you coming to be with us. We are stepping away from the false narrative that we all grew up with, which is the same false narrative that everybody else grew up with.
Yeah.
Different traditions of the same false narrative. So we are doing something different. We are not in honor of something old because it's old, although much of what we do is ancient. So I think that's an important thing to understand.
Most certainly. We're almost done with our announcements, and we see more of you are rolling in. So welcome everybody. We're continuing with the tenets. We're talking about embody the clearing, and yeah, this is going to be rather interesting because it's a thing on our world where I know you've seen some incongruencies out there where they don't walk it like they talk it. We'll get there in a moment, and I got a list of jokes lined up of real life things that I've seen that has prompted me to become more of the embodiment of what I say, you know, because I'm like, dang, that's what that looked like. That's what that. Ooh. All right, get congruency. All right, so make sure you're checking out some of the free things that we have to offer. You know, so there's always things available to chime in and be a part of a sun, tune into the frequencies. So every Monday we have Flowers and Frequencies with Lauren of the Sun. She's bringing forth the communications with various consciousness of flowers from the floral kingdom. And it's been lovely because some of it has been pacing with the light body, and some of it's also her sharing her experience as a florist and speaking directly with the consciousness of the flowers. You know, that's what we're about. You know, everything's alive, ancient, again, ancient understandings. So Mondays at 6 p.m. you can join her. We have midday meditation with Diane of the Sun in Lakesh Studio, where every Wednesday, 12 noon, you can pop in for a free meditation. And these activations usually serve as a nice reset in the middle of the day. You can attune your light body as well. She's usually bringing us into mudras or some form of activation that supports what we're doing in the light body movement. And then, of course, every Thursday, you can catch me in LaOta. We're here, always. You know, drop in the call for the truth or bringing forth the truth through our live streams. And right now, we're focused on the tenets. So again, we're going to talk about embodying the clearing or embodying the work. And Divine Nation card pool. This is a free group card pool working with the cards. And it's likely if you've seen us before, maybe you haven't, but LaOta curated a divination deck to go with her book, Call for the Truth. And every second and third Friday, Diane is doing a group card pool with a particular theme. Usually on the third Fridays, I guest host with her. But one of the ones that she did that I thought was interesting was, what is the truth that we need to know about our relationship with food? And that was fascinating. And apparently the cards was like, you all need to get your life together and get congruent. about what you think. Really, it was amazing. It was a simple, basic 3-card pull, but it was so much. It was so full, and it's divine. It's divination. Again, another free event, and then we have Quantum Light Property Clearing Chronicles, which it consists of Diane, myself, Lauren of a Sun, Tiffany of a Sun, who happens to be a clearer and an instructor of Quantum Light Property Clearing on the West Coast. And so we get together every fourth Friday, and we have stories and experiences really displaying or showcasing the power of Quantum Light Property Clearing through our own direct experiences, whether it's our personal clearings with our home, our communities, our travels, clearing our animals, even as instructors, or just the nuance of what it means to be a property clearer. One of the last ones we were discussing was protecting yourself via property clearing, and
Right.
how this is something that slept on, and we're going to be dropping much more videos about Quantum Light property clearing in terms of the details of, like, because people don't get it. People don't get that if you can influence the field, the thing that is, when you decide that, okay, I'm going to do better, I'm going to stop with this addictive behavior, I'm going to work through my fear, I'm going to, let go of the resentment, the space that you've been broadcasting that in for so long, it's working against you. And so learning how to offset that, it's so imperative for our growth.
Yes.
The fields inform us. It's a symbiotic relationship. So this brings power when you can influence the field to support your growth, shift behaviors in the household. It's wild, and it moves us from having to control, I gotta extend myself, versus like, let me inform the field to influence everybody, including ourselves. So it's a beautiful thing, and we're going to be diving deeper into this throughout the month. And then lastly, product highlight for you all, Sun and Sea Coffee, alkaline coffee. So if you are a coffee drinker and you're like, man, I like coffee, but I know it's not good, shout out to the divination cards. I need to get congruent with my food lifestyle. Sun and Sea Coffee is a perfect solution for you, because due to the chemical composition of all the ingredients, 4 very base, simple ingredients, it provides you with a powerful, energizing, nutritious alkaline drink. And one of the most potent ingredients is chlorella, broken cell wall, so that it's more bioavailable
Yeah.
for you, and you can uptake the nutrients. And this is what helps change the chemical composition from acidic to alkaline, where the coffee's not stripping you of your nutrients as it typically does with traditional coffee from coffee shops. It's actually pouring into you. And then you have more energy without this crash. So you can find this on the Other Sun website, and and soon come, we're going to be showing some videos with recipes, because LaOta has some really cool recipes like avo coffee, especially for the summer, because it's hot and people want something icy, frothy, and there's a lot of different things that you can do with this coffee that makes it a delicious treat as well. So that's the announcements that I have. You have anything else before we jump into our content today?
No, I'm actually excited about the content.
Ooh, yeah, me too. It's going to be good. And we like to see your thoughts as well, because, this stuff is real in the field, because we see this often on our path. Sometimes we see it in ourselves, sometimes we see it in those who maybe are instructors, healers, practitioners, not limited to spirituality or the spiritual community. You can see it with nutritionists, you can see it with doctors, you can see it with lawyers, people who say one thing but then do another. So today's tenet is be the clearing, embody what you teach, be a living field of coherence. I've seen people who are nutritionists and health coaches, and they weigh like 250, almost 300 pounds. I'm like, what's up with that? What's up with that? I know it's a thing, but it's like the idea of like, I remember seeing this throughout my life. I remember growing up and seeing, I grew up in church, Christianity. I remember hearing pastors say one thing to us, but seeing their lives very different. And I know that we all are in varying levels of evolution, so to say. But then there's also like, like you really loosey goosey. It's like the do as I say, not as I do. And, this keeps us out of our power. moves us out of coherency, especially if we're striving to become light, especially if we're striving to become whole, because again, we have a thought, but the actions aren't matching what the thought or the projection into the field is. So would you start laying some foundation? Why is this important, to be the clearing? And again, there's so many examples I gave, but we're looking at this through the lens of like embodying the work that you are cultivating within yourself and broadcasting.
It's on multidimensional levels. The concept of clearing in and of itself is not really understood. They attach varying levels of understanding to it. But if we were to take the idea of physical reality, that we live in a physical universe that requires that we brush our teeth, that we clean our toilets, that we wash our dishes, that we wash our bodies, that we wash our clothes, and that every animal that we see spends a lot of its time cleaning itself, we should get a hint that cats are constantly licking themselves, dogs are constantly cleaning themselves, that the creatures that are around us spend time doing it because physical reality requires it, it demands it. And so just on the most basic level of being physical in a physical world, and we give the example in the book I wrote for property clearing, that if you leave your house for 2 weeks, you come back, it's full of dust. This lets us see the result of cause and effect of physical reality, that there's a necessity in this world to not be ill, that we wash our hands. We all know these things. How many places have you gone? It's like, wash your hands before you leave the bathroom. Like, everything requires cleaning. Why would we remove that custodial care from our energetic environment in physical reality? So people live people live in an apartment and they talk wrong to each other. They make each other feel sad or unhappy because of that, or the baby cries for years instead of for just the first few months because of some discomfort in the environment, maybe something that's uncomfortable for it. All of that is imprinted into the space, and it's scientifically proven. We have scientists who have proven that to be so, so this is not theory, even in the world of science. And then we go into that space and rent that space, and we sleep there, and we bring our families and our food into that space, and we think that the broadcast that has been imprinted doesn't affect us. We think that we're free of whatever happened before. If we will remember our ancient books, let's say, that there was a flood to wipe out what existed so something new could be built, this is property clearing. The spaces and places had to be cleared. Then, if those of you who are familiar with the mud floods in the Tartarian Empire, every building had to be deconstructed. It had to be removed so that the new order, that was a society where energy was free and people didn't use money, and everybody was healed by the level of intelligence they operated at. For us to operate in the third dimension, we had to destroy that so we could have democracy and commercialism and all of the things that
All the isms, capitalism, etc.
all of the isms. And this is an excellent way for us to see that the shifts of power are in awareness that whatever has been imprinted for something new to come has to be cleaned and cleared. So in most cases, the world doesn't have to have a flood, but the world may have a lot of volcanoes and earthquakes and tsunamis, so that what has been inculcated into our consciousness can be cleared, so that we can have the next experience, which will be where the golden age of humanity. We may have to not try to build on top of this, but the earth herself may shift in such a way that we can build fresh. So clearing is that. So we, as quantum light clearers, have a method of clearing that can move thoughts and imprints from the paint, from the apartment, from the floor, from your animals. Then they pick up behavior from the children, all of these things. And we have been doing this as an authority in this space for decades. And we do this all over the world, and it is not necessary for us to be there. We did, we clear places in Mozambique, we clear places in Dubai, we clear places in Cairo. We're all over the world doing the work that we do, using the method that we use, which calls for congruency. It cannot be done without congruency. We have to be clear all the way through. In the same way that when you sit down to your food and you're prepared to eat the food, first, it should be food. That's the number one thing.
Be congruent.
Humans have an issue with
food needs to
eating
be food.
things that are not food. So it should actually be a product that nature brought forward to sustain the physicality that you have, not the food for robots. It should be the food for humans.
Yeah.
So if you aren't congruent in that, then you can speak directly to it because it's from creation and you are part of it because everything is one thing. And then you can ask it to raise up its vibration, which clears it of its suffering from whoever cooked it, whoever picked it, whatever truck it was on, whatever store it sat in, whatever someone thought about it before you got to it. All of this enhances and improves the quality of life and the quality of the clarity that you will have as you walk around with that inside of your living body. The light that comes in from your thought, your consideration of what you're eating, your consideration of who made it, all of that sustains you. So I may have gotten too far afield.
You did, but we stay going through the forest, the preserve, and like, oh, what's over there? That looks good. Let's check it out. We checked it out. It's cool,
Everything touches everything. Clearing touches everything. There's nothing in our experience on this dimensional plane that does not need to be cleared, including us at every level, including our cells, our mitochondria, all of our systems and our organs. We even encourage people to make sure that you are living a lifestyle that allows for your body to reboot and clear. Let your digestion rest a bit. Let your mitochondria get its energy through what you're eating, thinking, and doing. So
let's back it up a little bit in the conversation. You touched on a lot of different points, and one of them that I think is interesting, going back to that idea of clearing and it collapsing, literally the field of consciousness of humanity to usher in a new consciousness that is not so favorable to us, but that's what took place. Funny enough, I can see the same necessity, like how the clearing, we require collapsing the old within us. We require dismantling it. We can't build on top of it. So I do see the relevance in that, but I want to go to another point that you were making. And when you were speaking about property clearing, you said, for us to do what we do, it requires congruency. I learned that early in the game. For me to clear non-locally, to collapse these interferences in spaces and places, I got to know that I know. I at least got to trust the process. But then I saw that the congruency went a step further. Who am I outside of the clearing? It's one thing to clear a property, to do some healing energy, maybe you're doing Reiki or something, whatever it may be. Who am I outside of the motion? And that was something that became an integral part of my personal process of striving for the congruency, because I saw the direct connection, and I also saw that this is something that is not as obvious to people who are pursuing being a healer or practitioner in service to others. We'll do some healing, and we go out on the weekend, it's party time, we're turning up, and it's almost like religion. You do what you do during the week, then you go to church, and then it's again, it doesn't matter. It's like the same level of consciousness. It's just through a different facet or a different, flavor, so to say. But it's the same thing when you distill it down. So then through my process, I began to see, ooh, when I am not correct, my clearance don't hold up. When I'm not congruent, the thing that I thought I cleared, you get a phone call, hey, the infestation's back. It didn't, I was like, oh, damn. But then I look at my life and I was like, oh, man, you were off. You weren't on. You know, you didn't hold it. And so what's funny about this is that underneath this showed me the deeper truth of that you're not separate from your work. You know, so the coherency is required due to the natural connection to anything that you do, whether it's your business, whether you're making jewelry, whether you're clearing, or it's your art or your music, whatever it is, you are connected to it, and what happens to you will show up through the thing.
Absolutely.
Clearing being the case.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't play one on TV, you really are clear.
Yeah. Yeah. I do this.
I
I wake up, I live,
play
breathe.
a clear on TV.
Nah.
The reality is everything in life, this is a principle, a law and a principle. No matter what it is we're doing, whether you are the actor, if you're the actor, you're just acting. But if you are the experience of the character, you are the experience of the character. And so an actor is kind of a interesting thing because they are coherent as long as the acting is going on, and then they go back to whoever they were before that.
Yes.
Maybe somewhat changed, maybe not. It's not required, but we're not actors. We are the authentic, real deal, where we understand that we are part of all things. We understand where we are, that we are in a world that's material that needs cleaning. We understand that we must clear ourselves and be of service to others who cannot clear themselves. And that congruency has power. It is very well known in the energetic community that ritual works. So when you pull a card, the cards have been pulled 1,000,000,000 times. That ritual makes them true. Reiki has been done for hundreds of years. It makes it true. The component that is not often understood is that it is the practitioner that holds that truth together.
Yes.
They are the glue and the interpretation of what is being said.
Literally. Like you're pulling it via Reiki, you know, you're pulling it through.
Yes, but it is the ritual of the tradition that initiates whatever is being initiated, and that is an accuracy, but it is not the full story. There's plenty of people doing rituals who are still in the same situation they were in before they started doing them, because what is needed is that you are fully congruent with what you are doing. If you are eating to be healthy, you have to be fully congruent. You might need to investigate, where do they buy the food if I'm in a restaurant? Who's in the kitchen? What is this thing? What are the properties of this thing? Maybe I ought to read what blueberries do. Maybe I need to know this so I can be more thoroughly congruent with what's going on with my body, what I'm drinking, what I'm doing, what I'm eating. So this level of congruency is why we have light body, to take people through the individual chakras, the energy systems in the body, to gain clarity, to learn more each round, so that that clarity lights you up. You become illuminated, and then you can direct your illumination into the principles, the lifestyle, or whatever techniques you are learning, which is what we do as well.
Yes. Another point about coherence and how, or congruency in being the clearing, you know, it's more than just an action, it's the state of being. So again, using the example of I've cleared a property, I've cleared a space, or let's even use a more like down to earth. Some of you utilize our energy hygiene practices. For example, calling for the highest possible vibration. When I call it, am I allowing myself to adhere? Am I being that in the interactions moving forward, you know. And so it's more, it feels more of like an embodiment. It feels more of like a, you carry it with you, you know, not where it's just limited to your meditation, your little sacred area, where you carry that sacredness with you, and the from the other person. The other person can feel so, like maybe they're astute, maybe like yourself, and like, yeah, I feel the clarity in this person, you know. Or if they're not as astute, they know something's different, something's light and lofty about this person, because again, it's something that's carried, it's something that's with us, where again, my mind keeps going to breaking down the compartmentalization that we have. It's like we have been conditioned to compartmentalize our life. Like, oh, Claren's over here, and then I do this over there. But it's all one thing. It's
Yes.
all informing. And it's so imperative that we don't ignore it, because it will bite you. You know, especially if you're a practitioner. That's why we were saying embody the practice or the teachings or what you teach. Because you say one thing, and the next thing you know it's going to backfire on you.
So all of that is so true, but it's true at the opposite as well. So if we tell our audience today, call for the highest possible vibration when when you are in need of a high vibration. Do it 3 times. That will be there for you for 30 minutes. You can pull upon your request to the universe to bring you into the highest possible vibration. At the same time, if you go on social media and you scroll for 30 minutes, you're no longer in the highest possible vibration. Your 30 minutes dissolved if you go 5 minutes later, because now you're calling on, your attention is going to, you are calling on where your attention is going is usually a sad, unhappy story, somebody hurting somebody, hitting somebody, stealing something from someone, saying something horrible, a ghost story, something. So your attention has now said yes to this, and you've left behind highest possible vibration. Because highest possible vibration didn't include watching people hurt each other, be upset because their husband is having an affair, or whatever it is. None of that is in the highest possible vibration. So it works on both sides. If you can maintain the elevation of the highest possible vibration, your life will change in ways that are very notable in front of your eyes. People will treat you different. You'll have greater, richer experiences.
Let's
Yes.
go a little deeper into this, because there's something there. Want to highlight and examine human behavior psychologically. You just gave an example of, we're calling for the highest possible vibration or doing something to raise ourselves up, but then we just end up allowing ourselves to be contaminated shortly after. And there's this level of absent-mindedness where there isn't really a consideration of what's happening. It's almost like an acceptance. Maybe it happened when we accepted the terms and conditions subconsciously with the apps, but clearly there's some parts of us that will raise ourselves up, but then we might flex and bend a bit for things like the social media and expose ourselves unconsciously without like conscious intent, because there's a difference. Because right now we're talking about the human behavior that just goes in mindlessly. Because I know what has happened with me is that I'm consciously looking. I've actually been working on doing this thing where I retain awareness of what my last swipes were. The one day, and I'm gonna make sure I get back, because I see myself going down. What's down here? One day, I heard someone mention about how the way how we're functioning, our brains, we don't remember like the last few swipes. Like, what was the 5th video that you saw? And when that came to my awareness, I was like, ooh, I gotta be a little more conscious with this, because they're right. It's like my retention. But then at the same time, even though I don't have a conscious recall, that doesn't negate that I've been exposed to some random things in my feed that don't necessarily reflect me. I don't care what they say, like that algorithm don't fully reflect you, because it's designed, it's anti-life. Let's just leave it there. But my point is that I want to bring it back because I done went down the path, but the idea of how when there's something within us that will just unconsciously engage and allow the anti-life, allow the incoherency to take place even after we've brought ourselves up. That, and it's not just with social media, it might be the same thing where you bring yourself up and then you confront someone at your job, someone at the grocery store, or a family member, and then you lose your coherency. You just drop, you kind of like let go and acquiesce to whatever the anti-life is versus embodying and being the clearing. So you have any thoughts on this in terms of like what's happening with us? Does this mean like we just need to fortify ourselves more, be more conscious, or what's going on?
You know, this is deeply subconscious and conscious. We have not been taught to value what we think or what to think on or to retain what we are thinking about. There's a whole chain of
Right,
events
yeah.
that, so you're saying, I want to, excuse me, I want to be coherent about what I have seen, but you've never been taught to remember what you've seen. That's a whole educational process that you would have to choose to retain. Like when they show movies where the spy can see 20 things that happened in the room and they remember all of
Yes.
them, and you can be trained to do that, but you haven't been.
Yeah.
But it is, it is a possibility. There is also the idea that we don't value our own attention. So we're looking at something and we're not realizing we're feeding it.
That part right there.
We don't value the fact that they want your attention. It is a commodity.
It's currency.
It is currency. And you are like, oh, I'm just looking. But no, you are
more than looking.
You're spending money. Like, here's $5, here's $5. You're giving of who you are to whoever is entertaining your focus. And you can't remember what you were focused on.
Yeah.
And then what they're showing you gives you, this is the third layer, you get a dopamine hit every time you scroll. So you're getting you're getting juiced by your brain. You're getting a drug.
Artificial too, at that.
It's artificially inspired, it's real
Yeah.
dopamine.
Yeah, it's real dopamine. I'm not saying they injected it, but the artificiality versus, it's outsourced.
It is. And so that's another layer of what happens is that you haven't been trained or considered the importance of improving where your focus goes. Then you don't know what your focus value is. And then the payment you get for the focus is slack.
Yeah. Sloppy clips in the feed. It's been funny watching the feed.
Yes.
The last few days, there's been this thing where I've noticed. Well, I'm back on the deep fast right now, and things hit different. But even still, as I'm swiping, I'm like, if I don't get something that is actually giving me life within like 5 swipe, close. Do better, app. Do better, algorithm. Because I'm worth more, and it's really about the self value, the self worth. Like, what am I feeding myself? If I'm over here, this is what I mean about like the embodiment, and you carry it, and it's not. It's important for us to not be fragmented with it. We have to defrag and express it in all the ways. So if I'm over here saying, I am not consuming things that are toxic, and let alone food at all, why would I dare consume, I don't know, a slip and fall accident, or, a fight or something that is just, not what I'm looking for. And so it's this level of decision that comes forth where it's really the value for self and value for attention, where it's going, value for your energy, what's happening in the exchange, and learning to say no, learning to honor self, because in these engagements, I remember so many times losing some part of myself in the interaction. I'm like, man.
Well, it's true.
Dang it.
You do lose. I'm relatively new to social media, So my thought is a little different because I'm just months into really exploring it. And when I look at what is being shown to me, I'm like, your days are numbered. Like, you're not going to be around long. You're not going to be in my life showing me this a lot longer. Because your days are numbered because you are not giving me what I need to keep me engaged.
Yeah.
And that's really what you're saying.
Yeah. I want to shift to one other idea, how embodying the clearing, it helps with the outside world learning to trust you.
Yeah.
Because it's more than just what's coming out of your mouth. It's something that can be felt. Embodiment essentially translates into a broadcast that's communicated to another person's field. And I know you all know, you have been around people who say one thing and like in your mind you're like, oh no. Because you can feel the lack of coherence or congruency, like something is off with the person and what they're trying to convey to you or relay to you or teach you. And I can see where the embodiment, it becomes more than words. It becomes like, just be in my presence and I'll help you be congruent.
Absolutely. It's very much like walking into a room with a 20-watt bulb. It's like, I don't have the clarity. I can't see what's going on. But if someone who is subconsciously and consciously correct and has decided to be correct, has decided to be a benefit, has decided to be a contributor, has decided to be in service, there's more light. That's a 80, 90-watt bulb. I can see more clearly. It really works that way. Often we are in a room with a dim bulb where there's not enough clarity. We can't figure out if this is a friend or foe. We can't figure out what's going to happen next. We don't know what the furniture looks like. We don't know what's on the walls.
That's that lack of awareness.
and because the illumination from the individual is not coherent enough to produce enough light for clarity. And so that has to do with the food, with the subconscious programming, with the conscious programming, with the choices. It has everything to do with everything. What are you allowing yourself to put up with? What happens in the privacy of your relationship? What are you willing to go along with? Are you willing to allow people to try to subjugate you for their desire? All of that is things that need to be cleared.
Most certainly, certainly. So I think these are some very deep concepts. I like this path that we took down the forest today.
Well, it just so happens that yesterday I heard from someone in Venezuela. There was a earthquake there recently, and there's a lot of confusion, a lot of people who have passed away, a lot of people who are homeless, and this is a clearing opportunity for us where we can help move some of that sadness, some of that anger, some of that frustration out of the atmosphere. So we're doing that.
Most certainly. Yeah. So we see you all. You all are sticking with us, and we trust that this information has been landing for you. We're gonna go ahead and go to a quick commercial break and return back and go to the comments in the chat. And so stick around. This is about 57 seconds. We're gonna be with our sponsor today, LaOta Inc.
So, what does the future of money look like to you, Alex?
The future of money won't be about what we use. It'll be about who we trust. We're heading into a world where money is no longer paper. It's data. Central bank, digital currencies, programmable payments, and surveillance systems will redefine how value moves. But here's the twist. The more digital it gets, the more people will crave something real. That's why gold and silver aren't disappearing. They're becoming the anchor in a world of floating code. Money will evolve technologically, but it will always revolve around trust. And digital systems can't replicate 5,000 years of human belief in tangible value. The future of money? Digital convenience built on physical truth. The code will change, but the collateral won't. Because in every era, old or new, gold stays the final receipt.
All right, LaOta Inc. We give honor, respect, and gratitude to Alex And for anyone who's interested in wealth management, you want to protect your assets or invest in assets. Clearly, as he was saying, he's a gold investor. Not only is he a gold investor, he has a gold refinery in Dubai. So it's nice to know friends like that. However, what he's saying about the investments is so important, especially as we know that there is going to be a collapse and a change monetarily with our with the financial system, and making sure you have assets or your money is placed into things that are real, you know, because it's just ones and zeros on the screen. So anywho, you can visit alukainc.com, get a consultation with them. So we're back, and I'd like us to go to the chat. And once again, I want to give Invocation Veritas to the people who are joining us. Oneness and truth to you all for being part of these highly vibratory conversations where we're striving to be greater, we're striving to embody more, striving to be more one with life. You know, get on board with the blueprint. You know, so I'm gonna give you all a shout out to who I see in the comments, and then we're gonna get to some of the comments and or questions in the chat. So in Location Veritas, we have Stephanie of the Sun, Theodora Anderson, Serenia MacArthur, in Location Studio 1, Stacy OTS 17. We have Fiona, I am Elijah Woods. Peace, wisdom, love, light, prosperity, and abundance of happiness and gratitude. Leoneri got a little comment here. She says, I'm definitely seeing the difference after incorporating some of the stuff from the first round of Luminous Life Method. That's so good to hear, because you got to work it.
Yeah.
You know, you got, in order to see the results, put it into action, and then you have your own experience, your own truth of saying like, ooh, this is what happens when I do this, and look at the coherency, look at the power. You build value, and then you kind of get the bug, you know, you want some more of this, you know, well, I'm going to get some more sunlight, you know, I'm going to activate myself even more. So that's pleasing to hear. We got CC Tree in the house in Location Veritas, Yusef Muhammad in Location Veritas. Beautiful to see and hear your light. Thank you, Yusef. We got Lauren Cornell in the house, Natasha Pack. That happens to be my mom. Hello, son, I see you, love you. Love what you all are doing. Keep up all positivity towards the people. Love you, shout out. Yes, this world needs a cleanse. That's why I'm doing what I do, Mom. So, and then who else we have here? Leoneri, she says, in order to be free, you must sacrifice your enslavement. This conversation is reminding me of the other. I love it. Yeah, we just dropped a podcast, and we're diving into what are you willing to sacrifice to be free? And because most of us, we don't want to give up the thing that would allow us to fly and be untethered.
Yeah, it's really interesting. What comes to mind is we don't want to give up the jealousy and the resentment that we have for others so we could be free to fly. We want to hold on to it, and it imprisons us. It enslaves us. We're so free, we choose enslavement.
It's wild stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but we were designed, our blueprint is so free that it still pushes through.
Yeah, it's fascinating. But I think if you haven't seen that podcast, definitely check it out, because it's thought-provoking. You know, again, there's so many things that we're like undecided with and feel like the thing, as you said, all these different low-level emotions or attachments keep us bound and even eclipse the light. It stops you from
And it's
in the
not
most
anybody
basic
else, it's us.
yeah, in the most basic way, being happy, achieving a sense of contentment and happiness. It's hard to do that when you're bound to things that are siphoning your life force.
Well, this is what I know, that I have decided that no matter what you do, you can stand on your head, you can lick out your tongue, you can wiggle your toes, I'm going to be happy anyway.
That sounds like freedom. That sounds like sovereignty. Get you some of that. No, that's right. So what else we got? Divine Grace says 100 exactly. Thank you. I don't know what we said, but apparently it was spot on. We appreciate you, Divine Grace. So with that being said, you know, we can go ahead and start wrapping up. There aren't any more comments, but we do appreciate you all for joining us. And just a general reminder, light body activation. You're looking to cultivate your light with us. And there is power in the coherency of the group, being with multiple souls who are looking to do the same thing. This is real in the field, you all. So We're kicking things off with the root chakra this upcoming Sunday. If you are interested, look at the links in the description below. You'll see there's a variety of links. You'll see the light body link. You'll see the luminous life method link for LaOta's class, energetic protection and defense. Click on the link, check it out. Check out some of our podcasts talking about these things. And we look forward to seeing you there.
You are invited to join us. We have many introductory things, many things that are free. We are in service to humanity. We encourage you to decide to be so too. We thank you. In Lakesh, in Veritas, with honor, respect, and gratitude.